I gave you the eye monster because it doesn't have any arms and I don't want you to have to worry about picking the box up just yet. So no arms, just legs. This rig is a reverse foot rig, and what that means is that if I take this control at the center of the box, when I move it up and down, the legs will respond. So that's pretty useful. With the box, I started at the top, so now that I've explained that a reverse foot rig will allow you to have your character jump up and down pretty easy, I'm going to start up at the top. I wanted you to have a little bit of extra flair on this rig, so I gave you a little antenna that you can move around and wiggle. The antenna has this additional control which should help change the direction it bends in. I don't know if it's going to do a lot for you, but it's better to have than not have. At the back, I've created 3 separate squash controls for you. The big letter S will squash and stretch the entire character. The upper small s will do the head, and the lower small s will do the legs. You might find those helpful, you might find that they make your motions too cartoonish. That's up to you, you get to decide. Again, all rigs are intended to give you some control, and all rigs are imperfect. If I go over to the front of the eye monster, this little diamond shape is a look at, and the look at will give you a range of motion side to side and up and down. So if you want to have your eye monster look around, that's how you're going to do it. There's a little letter C that is next to the look at control. And if I look at it here in my channel box, it's got 3 controls. It's got red, green, and blue. And these, you won't be able to see anything here in your perspective view. But if you go to Arnold and render, here's what these 3 controls do. When they're all set to 10, the little eye panel is going to be white. I'm going to take green and blue and middle mouse drag them down to 0. I'm going to leave red set to 10, and now the eye panel is red. If I take red and I move that down to 0 too, now the eye panel is black. Here's green, we'll turn green up to 10, and we'll turn green off, and then we'll turn blue up to 10, and we'll turn blue off. So these correspond to your 3 primary colors, and just to prove that, we'll do the secondary colors too. So green and blue, if I turn those up to 10, I will get cyan. If I turn red and green up to 10, I will get yellow. And if I turn red and blue up to 10, that'll give me magenta. So I figured that with this controller, you can get any kind of glow you want out of this little eye socket thingy. So the C is for color, and that's going to give you your primaries so that you can do your own color mixing. So those are the upper body controls. Then I've got this nice root control, which, as we've established, will allow you to jump. This will also allow you to rotate, which is how you can change weight from one foot to the other. With all bipedal animation, I want you to practice on your own body. So anytime you want to pick up a foot, these are the foot controls down here. If I pick this up, you'll see that the eye monster's weight stays centered. That looks like the eye monster is about to fall over, because your weight should always go on the standing leg. So if I start by rotating and even moving a little bit to the side, now the eye monster can stand on one leg. So don't forget to rotate your root control. Rotating will help you change weight from one foot to the next foot. The foot controls are down at the bottom. The large boxes will allow you to move and rotate the foot. This circle right here is a great little control because it's going to let you pop the heel, which is a really vital motion when walking. So the circle, it's called a ball control because that's where the ball of your foot is. Some rigs, when you get to this point, you'll see it called a heel pop. That's also fine. It's going to lift up the heel. Over at the front of the foot, there's another circle. This circle is a toe pivot, and it'll allow me to rotate the foot from the front. So the big box is foot control. You move the foot from the heel. The little circle is a toe pivot. You move the foot from the toe. I've also got a toe wiggle control here. The toe wiggle is a translate, and that's just going to let me wiggle the toe. You probably noticed that there's a control hovering here over the knee. That's because a lot of the time when you move a leg too far, it rotates backwards. This control is called a pole vector, and the pole vector will allow you to control the direction that the leg is bending so that when something goes wrong, you can make it go right again. You can also use this to just kind of wiggle your knees. So if I set this back to 0, you'll see that the pole vector control will let me change my knee position so I can do a funny dance, or I can make my character a little knock-kneed. The final control down at the bottom is a placement control, and you should probably be familiar with placement controls, but just for the record, this will let me rotate the whole character, move the whole character, and scale the whole character. So if you want your character to be teensy, maybe it's going to crawl inside the box, and that's going to be your motion, that's totally fine. You can do that. You can have a teensy little eye monster. And that is with the placement control. So that's how your rigs work. And now we'll just go through the project a little bit, and then you'll get going.